Hey, I guess you want to follow along on one of my workouts. I would love that. But I think there are some basic rules we need to establish and things we should go over first. So let's do that. Your safety is my #1 priority when making these workouts. So please, go see your physician if you have any underlying heart conditions before performing one of these workouts. To monitor your heart rate throughout the workout, if you have an Apple Watch or a wearable, that's preferable.
While we're on the note of safety, remember, I can't physically fix your form if I'm not with you in person. So I need you to replicate these movement patterns to the best of your ability with perfect form. You're going to also hear audible cues. So if you have headphones in loud environments, it's going to help you understand what you should and shouldn't be doing.
To get the most out of these workouts, simply set your phone or tablet up, follow along with the instructions and try to keep pace, and just work hard. Some workouts might use equipment where it's unsafe to watch the video while trying to perform the exercise at the same time. So for these, I advise watch the video, then rewind, set your phone up off to the side, and then perform the exercise while only listening to the audible cues. Use your own best judgment for this. Oof, that made things awkward.
And that's essentially it. Follow these workouts, work as hard as you possibly can, and on a week-to-week basis, make sure you're thinking of increasing one variable like weight or reps or tempo or something. The last thing I want to say is just a thank you. The fact that you're here with me today tells me that you're willing to dedicate energy and time to try to better yourself, and the fact that you're using me as a resource to do so really does mean a lot. So thank you with all my heart, and enjoy your workout.
In today's workout, we're going to focus on isometric holds, maintaining positions for longer durations of time, which is going to help us strengthen those positions themselves, as well as help work on strengthening tissue around our joints and work on muscular endurance. For today, we'll need a couple pieces of equipment, such as a lacrosse ball, a foam roller, mini bands, as well as a resistance band. Let's get started. Before we get started with today's workout, we're going to spend a couple of minutes and we're just going to do some soft tissue work. We're going to need a lacrosse ball and a foam roller. We just want to promote some blood flow, help us loosen some tight tissue so we can activate it and get into positioning a little bit easier in our workout. So like I said, the first thing we're going to need is a lacrosse ball and foam roller. Let's start with the lacrosse ball. We want to start by working on our glute. We're going to take the lacrosse ball right in the corner of our glute and we're going to shift all of our weight over to that side. Now from here, I keep this leg bent at about 90 degrees and we're going to spend 45 seconds. I'm going to think of getting this knee to fall all the way down, abduction of my hip, and then I'm going to try to bring that knee all the way back up. Now, the main purpose of this, again, is to promote blood flow and loosen up tight tissue. We're not trying to loosen up some of the top superficial layer. I want this to get deeper into the tissue. That's why we're using something small. So relaxing is one of the most important components here. So try to take deep breaths. If it's extremely painful, you can just stay put. You can make small circles. Whatever you feel is best for you. Again, if you don't have as much muscle and tissue there and you're someone who's a little smaller and more petite, this might be really painful and you might need to use the foam roller. So again, feel yourself out. If it feels like you're hitting bone, not musculature, please use a different methodology. Okay, 45 seconds is a little more. Let's switch sides. Again, all of the weight on the corner of this ball here. You can have this right leg straight, whatever you feel fits you best. If you're someone who's maybe not as strong from upper body strength and this is really uncomfortable, you can kind of lay back maybe a little bit more down in your forearm. This might, again, put more or less weight on the area, but I want you to be able to somewhat relax as you're doing this. Maybe you put your hands on yoga blocks, something like that. Today, we're going to be doing a lot of isometric holds in our workout, meaning we're going to hold positions for a longer duration of time, not necessarily working on our general strength or building so much muscle, but we will work on strengthening joints and the connective tissue surrounding those joints. And again, muscular endurance of the muscle groups as well. Okay, good. Next, I want us to loosen up some of the tissue of our shoulder. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lay face down. Move this so I don't kick it over. We're going to do another 45-second timer. And I'm going to take the lacrosse ball and put it right on my shoulder where my shoulder meets my pec. From here, I put my weight down. I'm pressing actively my right shoulder down into the ball, almost rotating my hips. And I think of taking my elbow and lifting it up and then pressing it all the way down to the ground. Now, when I lift it up, I do not pull my shoulder off the ball. I keep that tension there the entire time. We take deep breaths. Same concept. If this is really painful, maybe I stay put. Maybe I make small circles. Again, most of us, we sit at a desk all day and we get this really rounded, kyphotic, pulled forward posture. And the muscles of our shoulders and our pecs get really tight, and that's what pulls us there. So Now we're trying to loosen up some of this tissue again, get it to be a little healthier so we can stretch it, and then try to fix some of the postural problems we have. That's going to lead to some big issues down the road. And okay, 45. This feels good. If you want more time here and you're someone who's extremely tight in that area, or maybe from your last workout, please spend more time, pause the video, come back, you can meet us in a second. Same concept here. You can put your hand out in front of yourself and rest your head on your hand, but again, I might muffle the mic, so I don't want to do that to you guys. Deep breaths here. Maybe you have some asymmetries you notice. One side's tighter than the other, one side's more painful. Why is that? Maybe the backpack you're wearing every day and the positioning you're in. Maybe your mouse, maybe when you're working out, one arm is stronger, it's doing more load if you're doing like symmetrical movements, kind of like a barbell bench press or something like that. So again, I think this is really important time to listen to your body and learn about it so that we can make some adjustments. I'm going to spend a few extra seconds here. This side's a little more tender. Again, I know everyone wants to get right to the working out, but I think it's so important that we take our time within our movement prep and kind of learn how our body feels for the day so we can adjust the intensity of our workout and maybe even change the movement patterns. Okay, next, what we're going to do now is I'm going to use this foam roller and we're going to work on some of our, we'll call it spine health, okay? We sit, we get kyphotic, we lose some of the natural S curvature of our spine. So we're going to try to help restore it over time, so slow and steady with this concept. First thing I'm going to do, with the foam roller on my upper back, on my thoracic spine, I'm going to think of taking my pelvis and tilting it, pushing my lower back against the ground. From here, my hands go on my head. I take 3 huge breaths out. Every breath out, I try to get my upper back to conform over the foam roller. Breathe. Now again, if you're someone with extremely bad posture, someone who's never tried to do anything like this could be super intense. Maybe we put a yoga block behind our head to restrict us from going back so far. Maybe you're someone with scoliosis, and this, again, isn't the smartest concept for you. This is a generalized idea. This is not specified for every single person. But it's a great way, again, to work on thoracic extension and to help work on loosening some of the tissue of your upper back and restoring some of the natural curvature of your spine. Now, another concept. As I'm breathing here, I need to keep that posterior tilt, because if I don't and I arch my back, look at the difference in range of motion. This is end range for me here. If I arch my back, I can touch my head. But now, I'm just compensating from the wrong area. So again, keep that pelvic tilt. Deep breaths. Again, if you need to spend more time there, please do. Take your time. If you need to make it easier, do that as well. Slow and steady, we're going to improve your posture, okay? It's going to take a lot of time. It took you 20, 40, 60 years to get into this predicament of bad posture. It's going to take some time to get out of it. It's not a one-time fix situation. Next, we're going to get one leg over top of the foam roller. We're going to work on thoracic rotation now. We're going to take one hand out to the side, other hand on top. I take a deep breath out, I rotate, and now what I try to do is I try to pin my back shoulder all the way to the ground. Deep breath out, couple of cracks. Again, this shoulder, we're trying to pin them down. The hands are just extensions. Most important is from our thoracic spine. Deep breath out. If you're someone that plays a rotational sport, this is going to be really helpful for you to be able to produce more power and lower your risk of injury, because now you're rotating from the right areas. Again, same concept, opposite side. Deep breath out. Make sure this knee stays down on the foam roller. Now, I play golf, so I notice that one side I have slightly more rotation than the other. So again, we don't want any asymmetries. Might lead to future increased risk of injury. And again, if you need to spend more time here, please do. That is going to conclude our soft tissue work. We're going to do some active movement now and some movement prep to try to get some tissue warmed up. I'll see you in a second. Next up, for movement prep, all we're going to need here is going to be a mini band. I prefer a heavy mini band, something a little tougher for our hips, as well as a resistance band or a TheraBand. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to set a timer for 1 minute, and we're going to work on abduction, or opening our glutes and strengthening our glutes and providing blood flow there. So we're going to safely, again safely, if you need to do something, step inside of the band, but hold yourself up, okay? The band can be anywhere from shin to about below your knee. All we're going to focus on is having a slight hinge to our hips, slight bend to my knees, and from here, I'm going to take as large of a step to the side as I possibly can, pulling the band apart, and then moving both feet together. Again, I have a timer for 1 minute started here. Now, every step that we take, we want to think of these things. I want my feet to be straight. I don't want to turn my foot out, okay, number one. Number two, when I step over, I don't want my knee collapsing in. I want my glute to be activated, which means external rotation of my femur. So my knee also needs to track over my toes. Okay, super important. We don't want to stand too upright. We want to make sure we're hinged over. Again, helping us activate our glutes. And then just take deep breaths and stay calm. Neutral spine, back is straight, good posture with our shoulders. Deep breaths, big steps. None of these shallow steps. Really try to stretch that band apart. Activate those abductors of your glute. A lot of people, again, I talked about it before, they get glute amnesia. Their glutes just can't fire because we sit on our butts all day. We never use that musculature in movement patterns. We kind of use other muscle groups to help out. So this is going to help us activate that tissue so we can use it better in our workout, strengthen it, grow the muscle there. Okay, next, we're going to grab a resistance band or something like a TheraBand that we can pull apart with about shoulder width grip and then get our arms all the way over our head. From here, we're going to squat. I'm going to do 15 overhead squats. As I squat down, I try to think of pushing my knees out. I stand tall, I squeeze my butt and belly. Again, open my hips, my arms are overhead the entire time. Again, from the side, I have a very upright torso angle. This might not look it for everybody. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you might look more like this. Maybe because we don't have enough ankle range of motion to get our knees to track forward and stay upright. That's okay if you don't. Again, that might be why, and that might be something we need to work on. Because if we can't keep an upright torso, it's going to work our glutes and hamstrings more of our squat, which isn't a bad thing. But if we're holding a load to our chest, or if we have it on our back, our lower back is going to do a little bit more work because there's just this little bit more shear force on our spine. So again, working on staying upright, keeping this band behind us, externally rotating our arms. Super important here. And did one for good luck. And that's it. That's our movement prep. Super quick, super easy. Now we're going to get started with our workout. I'll see you in a sec. All right, first circuit, we got 3 exercises per circuit. We're gonna go through all the movement patterns together. When we finish up, you get a short rest, and then you're gonna perform the movement patterns again. You just won't have me audibly giving you cues. The first round of things we're gonna do, we're gonna start with working our quads by going up against a wall and doing a single-legged wall squat for 30 seconds per side. Great way to strengthen tissue around your knee, work on stability of the joint. When we're done with that, we're gonna do a single-legged glute bridge hold. Now working our posterior, our glute and hamstrings, again, trying to maintain a position for 30 seconds per side. We're gonna finish with doing a side plank abduction. We're gonna get into a side plank position, lift one leg up, hold that position, again, 30 seconds. You don't need any equipment here. So let's get started. Let's go up against the wall and let's start the clock. So first thing I wanna start with, again, going up against the wall, getting my knee to about a 90-degree knee bend, and then picking up the other foot with good posture up against the wall and just holding this position. Again, I think the concept of having good posture against the wall, super important to focus on that. It also might help distract you from this being pretty challenging right now. If you need to stand up higher because it's just too exhausting, do what you need to do. Just kind of measure over time where you can be depth-wise, right? And again, great way of working on strengthening connective tissue around the joint. If you're holding a knee over toe position and you're not caving in, I need you to activate that glute, have that knee over your toe. And 30 there. Switch feet, same height, I don't stand up at all. Again, knees tracking over toe, opposite foot held up off the floor. Relax, good posture. If you want to work on shoulder health, maybe try to work on external rotation of your shoulders at the same time. You can do wall angels, ton of stuff you can do. If you need to distract yourself, you could hold a weight plate. Whatever you need to do, again, great way, muscular endurance of your quad. Deep breaths, and this is gonna be great for strengthening your knees, okay? And there's no wear and tear because there's almost no movement involved. Next, we're gonna do that single-legged glute bridge hold. We're gonna lay face up on the ground. Both knees are bent maybe a little more than 90 degrees. From here, hips go up in the air, and then all I do is I pick one foot up off the floor. I take deep breaths and I just hold this position. Now what we want to think about as we're doing this is my hips are level, right? This is a nice straight line here. I'm not sagging down and I'm not overextending and arching my back. If you feel this in your lower back, you're probably doing that. Squeeze the butt cheek as hard as you can of the foot that's on the floor. And again, shoulder blades back, and just try to keep deep breaths and stay calm. And before you know it, you're switching sides. Now, if you feel this in the front of your leg a ton, right, in your quad, you might not be able to activate your glute as well as we wanted. I talked about glute amnesia. That could be happening right now. Or your knee angle is too closed and you're not pushing through your heel and you're just working the wrong tissue. So again, knee angle opened up more if you feel that. Keep those hips high, squeeze those glutes. We're almost done. Couple extra seconds for good luck. 2, 1, and beautiful. Next, we're staying put pretty much. This is an easy circuit as far as not needing equipment and staying in one area. So we're gonna get into a kneeling side plank. Shoulder stacked directly over my forearm. Forearm straight out. My hips are pressed forward and off the ground. Now from here, I take my top leg and I just lock it out and I just hold this position, that's it. My foot is flat. It's not rotated to the floor, it's not rotated to the ceiling. My hips are forward. I think of retracting my shoulder blades. Hold this positioning, deep breaths. Top arm over here, whatever you prefer. Staying relaxed. Deep breaths, nice and calm. And okay, switch sides. 3, 2, good. Leg out, arm out, however you want to hold it. Again, pinch those shoulder blades. Give a good stable position for the shoulder to be in. Hips are up high off the ground. You're not just sagging down. You're really pushing those hips up high. Your glute here is going to work, your abductors of your glute. This top glute's working. Again, abduction, holding my leg up. Anti-bend, great way to work your core. One of my favorite core exercises right here. And that's it. That's 3 all exercises. Let's take a short rest. We'll come back and we got 2 more rounds of this. So I'll see you guys in a second.
Navego por su piel, por esa mujer. Voy a ser fiel, por esa mujer. Te juro que voy a ser fiel. Me envicié de su sabor a miel. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, no pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, fue puro placer y volver a tocarnos en el sitio donde te encontré. No pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Como tú no hay otra. Vente, vamos de viaje. Ya no estás sola. Pate masaje, yo amo tu popola. Mi cholo en el traje, pa' que no te fajes. No es aguaje, yo sigo sonriendo como Colgate. De una me rescataste, de lo malo me separaste. Yo en la calle hacía disparate. Tú eres mi bebé sota, tu gato con botas. De tanto tener sexo terminó la cama rota. Devorando la toa, no sé si va a haber boda. Para ella soy su lobo y sabe que es mi loba. Yo sé que te sientes igual, así también. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, no pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, fue puro placer y volver a tocarnos en el sitio donde te encontré. No pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, como tú no hay otra. Ya no caigo un metal, ya ni tengo que pensarlo. Que me querían drenar, mi corazón sabe recargarlo. Yo que estaba vulnerable, pero ahora mismo me siento como un champion. La movie tú me la entiendes, me hace falta caption. Devorando la toa, no sé si va a haber boda. Para ella soy su lobo y sabe que es mi loba. Yo sé que te sientes igual, así también. su piel, por esa mujer. Voy a ser fiel, voy a ser fiel. Por esa mujer, te juro que voy a ser fiel, voy a ser fiel. Me envicié de su sabor a miel. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, no pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, fue puro placer y volver a tocarnos en el sitio donde te encontré. No pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, como tú no hay otra. Vente, vamos de viaje, ya no estás sola. Pate y masaje, yo amo tu popola. Mi cholo en el traje, que no te fajes. No es aguaje, yo sigo sonriendo como Colgate. De una me rescataste, de lo malo me separaste. Yo en la calle hacía disparate. Tú eres mi bebé sota, tu gato con botas. De tanto tener sexo terminó la cama rota. Devorando la toa, no sé si va a haber boda. Pero yo soy su lobo y sabe que es mi loba. Yo sé que te sientes igual, así también. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, no pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, fue puro placer y volver a tocarnos en el sitio donde te encontré. No pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, como tú no hay otra. Ya no caigo un metal, ya ni tengo que pensarlo. Que me quería entrenar, mi corazón sabe recargarlo. Yo que estaba vulnerable, pero ahora mismo me siento como un champion. La movie tú me la entiendes, me hace falta caption. Devorando la toa, no sé si va a haber boda. Pero yo soy su lobo y sabe que es mi loba. Yo sé que te sientes igual, así también. Navego por su piel, por esa mujer. Voy a ser fiel, voy a ser fiel. Por esa mujer, te juro que voy a ser fiel, voy a ser fiel. Me envicié de su sabor a miel. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, no pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, fue puro placer y volver a tocarnos en el sitio donde te encontré. No pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, como tú no hay otra. Vente, vamos de viaje, ya no estás sola. Pate y masaje, yo amo tu popola. Mi cholo en el traje, que no te fajes. No es aguaje, yo sigo sonriendo como Colgate. De una me rescataste, de lo malo me separaste. Yo en la calle hacía disparate. Tú eres mi bebé sota, tu gato con botas. De tanto tener sexo terminó la cama rota. Devorando la toa, no sé si va a haber boda. Pero yo soy su lobo y sabe que es mi loba. Yo sé que te sientes igual, así también. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, no pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, fue puro placer y volver a tocarnos en el sitio donde te encontré. No pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos. Bebé, como tú no hay otra. Ya no caigo un metal, ya ni tengo que pensarlo. Que me quería entrenar, mi corazón sabe recargarlo. Yo que estaba vulnerable, pero ahora mismo me siento como un champion. hace falta caption, devorando la toa, obsesiva ver boda, para ella soy su lobo, y sabe que es mi loba. Yo sé que te sientes igual, así también. Navego por su piel, por esa mujer. Voy a ser fiel, voy a ser fiel. Por esa mujer, te juro que voy a ser fiel, voy a ser fiel. Me envicié de su sabor a miel. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos, bebé. No pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos, bebé. Fue puro placer y volver a tocarnos en el sitio donde te encontré. No pudimos controlarlo. Envuelto en sentimientos, son puros sentimientos, bebé. Como tú no hay otra. Vente, vamos de viaje. Ya no estás sola, pate y masaje. Yo amo tu popola, mi cholo en el traje, porque no te fajes. No es aguaje, yo sigo sonriendo como Colgate. De una me rescataste, de lo malo me separaste. Yo en la calle hacía disparate. Tú eres mi bebé sota, tu gato con botas. De tanto tener sexo terminó la cama rota, devorando la toa.
Next circuit, 3 more exercises. The only equipment we're gonna need here is gonna be a resistance band set up at about chest height. A doorway attachment is preferable. You can also attach it to an object at home. And then we're gonna also just need a resistance band off to the side. The first movement pattern, we're gonna do an isometric split squat hold while doing shoulder flossing, knee health, shoulder health, and mobility all in one. When we're finished with that, we're gonna do a tabletop hold while doing a shoulder tap. So we get to work on strengthening our core and shoulder stability. Third, final thing, we are going to do an isometric hold of a lateral lunge, but also do an anti-rotational hold to work our core. So a lot of good stuff coming at you here. The first movement pattern, we're going to do a split squat with that flossing technique that I talked about with a band. So starting in a lunge position, I'm going to dig my back toe into the ground. I'm going to have a resistance band, pull it apart, a little further than shoulder width apart. The more you pull it apart, give a couple test reps. We want to bring the band behind our lower back and all the way in front of us. We need to keep locked out elbows. If our hands are too close together and this is too challenging, we're not going to be able to safely get it behind our back. So again, make your hands wider. The first thing we want to do is dig our back toe into the ground and pick our knee up off of the floor. Boom, barely off the ground. Now from here, I got that tension all the way behind my back, deep breaths. We're doing 30 seconds. The reason we're doing 30 seconds is because if I do reps, I know you guys are going to get tired and do these really quick, and that's not what I want. Now, as we're doing this, we're pretty upright. I have a little bit more weight shifted onto my front leg, so I have a slight lean forward. I'm making sure that my front knee is tracking over my toes. I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. Again, I get to stretch my shoulders in 30 there, done. Okay, let me show you from this direction. Again, knee tracking over toes, pull the band apart, all the way back behind, all the way over, deep breaths. Again, great way to work on strengthening the tissue around your knee, work on muscular endurance, and also at the same time work on some shoulder health and shoulder mobility. Why not, right? We're here already, deep breaths. Almost finished. Get to work on some ankle stability here too, and good. Okay, next, I mentioned we're gonna do that tabletop hold. So, tabletop position, we're gonna dig our toes into the ground, maintain a neutral spine, hold ourselves up off of the floor. Now, from here, I'm gonna go for 45 seconds, take one hand, tap the other shoulder, slowly move back and forth. I do not want my hips to shift a lot. I do not wanna arch around my back. I don't want my hips going up high. Back and forth, deep breaths. Delay, start that timer. Now your quads were just working on that last exercise. If they get really tired, lock your legs out, continue to go from here. But just work as hard as you can for 45 seconds. If you need a quick break, come here, then pick them back up. But I need you to fight, work hard. Spread those fingers apart. If you're someone that's getting wrist pain here, we might need to loosen up some of the tissue of our forearm. slowly get you into more wrist flexion more frequently. Almost there. In 3, 2, ooh, baby, that was a tough one. Okay, third, final exercise. Like I mentioned before, we're gonna want a resistance band attached at chest height in a doorway. So please have that set up. Then what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab our resistance band. I have a very wide stance. I'm gonna shift my weight all the way over to one side and do a lateral lunge, right? My feet are nice and straight. From here, I hold this position, I press my arms out, and now I hold this for 30 seconds. I'm working this quad. I'm trying to stay upright. My core is working. If you're using a band, if it's too easy, walk further away. If it's too hard, walk a little closer. People do a lot of exercises in the gym when they do a lot of rotation, but very infrequently do I see people doing anti-rotation, resisting the urge of rotating under load. And I think this is super important. And beautiful. Okay, let's switch sides. Try to give you a little different angle here. Okay, shift my weight over, press my arms out. Deep breaths and I resist. Again, the band also kind of helps offset my center of gravity so I can get lower and keep my chest upright. If you were trying to do this body weight, you might fall forward a little more. Deep breaths, deep breaths. Tough circuit, again, a lot of isometric holds. Our quads are burning up. I'm gonna do a few extra seconds here. 3, 2, 1. Woo, and there you have it, guys. Great circuit. We're gonna take a few seconds break here, grab some water, recover. We're gonna come back to a couple more sets. I'll see you at the next circuit. Third, final circuit, we're almost finished, guys, proud of you. The 3 movement patterns we're gonna perform here is only gonna require us to have a resistance band set up at the top of our doorway now, so we can do a vertical pull down. 2 yoga blocks is helpful for the first exercise, you don't need them, but something maybe to help your balance is great to have. The first movement pattern we're gonna perform is a single-legged deadlift hold. We're gonna try to maintain a neutral spine, work on some stability of some joints. When we're done with that, we're gonna do a lat pull down hold or a banded pull down hold, okay? We're gonna work on strengthening our lats, again, work on posture. Third, final thing, a V-sit hold, working on core strength, trying to maintain our feet at about level position with the ground. 3 exercises, we're almost finished, let's get started. First thing I mentioned before is that single-legged deadlift hold. So, what I want us to set up is something that's rather close to us, I like the yoga blocks, that we can use for stability and balance. Now, single-legged deadlift, it's a hip hinge, right? If I was to deadlift, this is the position I would start in. So if I get here and I put my hands down and I just balance myself and I reach my back leg at the same angle as my torso, boom, perfect positioning. Now I just stay put right here. When I'm here, I want to think of pushing my butt back. So if you look at my knee angle, my knee is just tracking like barely over my toes here, right? If you're having your knee come forward a lot, you're doing a lot of a quad work here. I'm trying to make this more hamstring and glute oriented. And again, hip hinge. I'm not doing a ton of knee flexion. Deep breaths here. Again, if you were holding weight, your hands would be right by your side. I want to corkscrew my foot, make sure my knee is not collapsing in. And good, switch sides here. Now, doing these single-legged deadlifts hold is a great way of learning again about your body and what tissue is firing better. Maybe you feel a lot less balance and stability on one leg. Why? Is it because your knee's always collapsing in? That goes to show maybe your glute's not activating on that side. Is it harder for you to hinge and you feel like you're rounding more on one side? Well, maybe your hamstring's not as lengthened. Deep breaths, a couple more seconds here for good luck. Again, back foot pointed toward the floor. And beautiful. Okay, next, I'm gonna move these slightly out of the way. I have a band set up over at this doorway. I'm gonna go grab that. Again, I want you to attach a band that's something rather high up. Our legs are gonna be out in front of us. I want us to sit forward. So bend your knees and kind of hinge at your hips. Now from here, I want you to pull this all the way down and finish nice and low on your back. I don't want this to be a row up high. I want this to be closer to a lat pull down. So finish below your chest, pull this apart, pinch your shoulder blades, hold this position. We're doing 45 seconds here. Deep breaths, my shoulder blades are depressed and retracted. 2 most important parts of this. Elbows close to my side. I have an overhand grip here. Again, I'm really trying to flex my lats. You shouldn't be feeling this too much in your arms. Again, trying to get these lats to activate. Try to keep that band right up next to your chest, nice and close. Almost finished up. In 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Let that go. Bah! Okay, third final thing we're gonna do, V-sit hold. What I'm gonna do here, my hands are back behind me. I'm gonna pick my knees up at 90 degrees and try to maintain a neutral spine. Now, you can keep your hands here if this is too challenging, or hands can go directly out in front of you. I want your shins to be parallel with the ground, right? Not bent down. I want you to maintain neutral spine and good neck positioning and not rounded kyphotic forward. Deep breaths. Again, V, sit, hold, right? Deep breaths. You can make this harder by putting your hands over your head and just holding that position. You can make it harder by straightening out your legs. A few different ways to make this more challenging. Again, 45 seconds. Almost there, good posture. Deep breaths. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful, and there you have it, guys. Third circuit, all finished up. Let's do a couple more rounds of that. And then I gotta thank you for at the end of the video, so I'll see you in a few minutes. Keep working hard. Congrats on finishing your isometric workout today. You should feel proud. I appreciate you for being here with me and working as hard as you possibly can, and I'm excited to see you at the next video. Make sure you remember, rehydrate, replenish, refuel, eat good healthy foods, get some sleep, take care of your body. Your future self will thank you. And again, I thank you for being here. Look forward to seeing you again. Take care.